Hey besties, so this is my third time recording this video, and honestly at this point you guys are just gonna get what it comes out to be. The first time I had no sound, the second time you couldn't see my writing on the screen. This time honestly we're just gonna go with it. Hopefully it works. If it works you'll see this. If it doesn't work, then I'm just gonna find a video on the internet and tell you guys to enjoy yourself. So we are going to discuss showing that we have a square in the coordinate plane. Now, this is a little tedious because you have to show that you have properties from two shapes. However, it's something that we can do. It's something that we practice. We can do this. So let's talk about our family tree really quickly. So I have my family tree, and my quadrilateral is my four-sided shape, nothing special. We call this our great grand. So you can call it whatever you choose. Then comes the parallelogram. I call this my grandma. You call it whatever you choose. From the parallelogram came my dad, which is the rectangle, my mom, which is the rhombus, and then me, which is the square. Well, the square has all the properties from dad, all the properties from rhombus, all the properties from parallelogram, and my square is a four-sided figure, so it has all of the one property from quad. So now that we know this, remember, in order to get to a square, I have to get through a few people. However, typically, if I am in a two-column proof world, I cannot say that I have a square unless I first prove that I have a parallelogram, then prove that I have a rectangle, then prove that I have a rhombus, therefore I have a square. However, in the coordinate plane, you are allowed to skip the line, but you have to be very careful with how you do it. So let me show you how to skip the line. Because you know Miss Heard is a shortcut girly. So there are two options that we can do, and this is going to allow us to skip the line. We can either show that it's a rhombus and then show that it has one rectangle property. So in order to show that it's a rhombus, I'm just showing that it has four congruent sides, and then I'm either going to show that it has one right angle by doing my slope formula for the two consecutive sides. Two consecutive sides means the two sides that are next to each other. So I'm just going to do the slope for two sides that are next to each other, and I'm going to show that they're opposite reciprocals. So therefore, we have a right angle. Or I'm going to use the Pythagorean theorem or the distance formula to show that my diagonals are congruent, and that's going to give me a rectangle property. Now, in the first example, I'm going to do, let's see, I'll show that we have four congruent sides because that's mandatory. And instead of showing that we have one right angle, I'm going to show my diagonals are congruent because it's going to be the easiest one for me. And you'll see why in a minute. Why did I erase that? Anyway, or not and or this is another option. I can show that it's a rectangle because I can show that it has four right angles using my slope. So that's the slope of all four sides. I want to show that all four sides, the slope of all four sides, and then I want to show that they are opposite reciprocals, so therefore four right angles are being formed. And then I'm going to choose one. So either my diagonals are perpendicular or two congruent consecutive sides. Well, since I'm already doing slope, I'll probably do diagonals are perpendicular. So I'm going to show that my diagonals form a right angle also. They are opposite reciprocals of each other, but you can do what works for you. So the first one is mandatory. So this is mandatory, and then you choose one of these if you're going rhombus to rectangle route. This is mandatory, and then you choose one of this if you're doing rectangle to rhombus route. So I recommend pick a side that you like and stick with it. So for coordinate proofs, when I'm proving a square, this is a side that I like. And here's why. Usually I'm a slope girly, but if I'm showing four congruent sides, I'm just going to do my Pythagorean theorem once, and it's going to be the same thing for the other four sides because guess what? It's a square. So all of my sides are congruent. And then I'm just going to show the congruent diagonals. That's going to be the Pythagorean theorem twice. So In total, I'm doing the Pythagorean theorem 3 times. In reality, I'm showing 6, but I'm actually just doing 3. Now for this is a little bit more involved. You have to do the slope of all 4 sides. You have to show that. So it's not going to be that easy. I think for this is the easiest bet. So we're going to do that for the first option. And then we're going to do 2 for the second example. So let's do it together. So first thing we want to do is label our points. And I'm always going to pick the easiest route, always. Because geometry is complicated enough. I don't need to overcomplicate things. There's no need to do that. Absolutely none. So I'm just going to plot my points. And I'm going to, oh, I forgot to mention, my concluding statement will mention that I have, since whatever is a rhombus, because it has 4 congruent sides, and I'm going to say it's a rhombus with congruent diagonals, therefore it is a square. So here I'm doing rhombus with 1 rectangle property. So I'm going to write that down, rhombus with 1 rectangle property. You tell me which one works for you, which one you like best. At the end, you tell me which option you like best. So for rhombus, I'm going to show 4 congruent sides. And I'm a Pythagorean theorem girly, so I'm going to use Pythagorean theorem. And the 1 rectangle property I'm going to show is congruent diags. So I plotted my points. I'm going to connect it with a straight line. And then I'm going to go to work with finding the length of my side. So because I'm a Pythagorean theorem girly, I'm going to create my right triangles. So I'm going to go ahead, create these right triangles. At this point, we should know how to do this. We are just creating the right triangle using slope rather. How many units down, how many units over to get to the point. And then we're going to count our boxes. So this is 3, 3. This is 3, 3, and here's what I'm talking about. Literally, it's all 3, 3. Now, I'm going to show all 4 sides. However, I'm just going to do it once. So let's do ME. So ME is going to be 3 squared plus 3 squared is equal to C squared. 9 plus 9 is equal to C squared. 18 is equal to C squared. C is equal to radical 18. Now, because I did that already, I'm not doing extra work. I'm just showing them that I know that all 4 sides are congruent. So I'm just going to do the same thing. Actually, can I just copy this? Please, because I'm tired. Let's see if I can copy this, because that will be great for me. Great, I can. Paste. See, this is the ultimate shortcut. You guys don't have this option, but I do. Okay, that's EA. NA. And ME. So, I'm going to go ahead. Well, I already said ME. What am I missing? MN. Sorry, y'all. I'm half asleep. So, I'm going to say ME is congruent to EA, which is also congruent to NA, which is also congruent to MN. So this is a quadrilateral with 4 congruent sides, therefore I have a rhombus. Now, I need to discuss my diagonals. So here's my diagonal here. Here's my diagonal here. So I was kind of slick when I chose to do this, because I noticed that my diagonals are on a straight line, so I can literally just count. From E to N, I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So EN is equal to 6. And then from M to A is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. MA is equal to 6. So I'm going to mention that EN is congruent to MA. Now, here goes my concluding statement. I'm going to say mean is a rhombus because it has 4 congruent sides, which I literally just showed right here. Now, then I'm going to say, since mean is a rhombus with congruent diagonals, it is a square. Ball drop, finish. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. Because I just showed right here that my diagonals are congruent. So I showed that it's a rhombus with a rectangle property. I'm done. Let's move on. Now I'm going to show that it is a rectangle with a rhombus property. So this one's a little bit more involved. This is not my personal favorite, I'm not gonna lie, because this is actual work and I don't like to do extra work if I don't have to. But here I'm just doing it for you so you can see another option. To show that it's a rectangle, I'm gonna show it has 4 right angles. To show the rhombus property, the one that I'm gonna choose is perpendicular diagonals. Diagonals. Now you can choose 2 congruent consecutive sides. Again, I say this all the time. You do what works for you. Now, I'm going to plot my points. A, B, which is 4, 3. C, which is 7, negative 1. And D, which is 3, negative 4. This is great. We're cooking with gas. I hope it's not a long video, you know. Because at this point, okay, so I'm going to show that I have 4 right angles. In order to do that, I need to do the slope of all 4 sides. And I'm going to verify that the slopes are opposite reciprocals of each other. After I do that, then I'm going to do the slope of BD. Why are you doing that? Why are you embarrassing me? I'm going to do the slope of BD, and then I'm going to do the slope of AC. I don't know why it's doing that, but you understand. You get the vibes. So we're going to do the slope. This is 6 slopes that I have to do. This is a lot of work. And I'm telling you right now, I don't ever do this. This is too much work for me. However, this is another option that you can choose if you choose to do this. So AD, again, when we're doing our slope, we always write our points. And then we, drum roll, please. Label, label, label. Label, label, scrabble. So we want to label our points. And then my slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Well, my y2 is negative 4. My y1 is 0. So negative 4 minus 0. My x2 is 3. My x1 is 0. So my slope here is negative 4 over 3. Now I'm going to hope that the slope of DC is 3 over 4, because that will be the opposite reciprocal, and that will give me the perpendicular lines that I need. So let's go ahead and do DC. D, which is 3, negative 4, and C, which is 7, negative 1. And we're going to label, label, label. We do the same thing all the time. Nothing changes. All the time we do the same thing. It's a strategy. It's a procedure. It's foolproof. You do it this way and you don't make any mistakes. The reason why this is plus is because it's negative 1 minus a negative 4. A negative minus a negative will be a positive. And then 7 minus 3. What comes of this, negative 1 plus 4 is 3. 7 minus 3 is 4, which is great. We see here that our slopes are opposite reciprocals of each other. Therefore, angle D is a right angle. Now we have to do the other 2 sides just to verify. And what we want to see is that we have opposite sides that are parallel, because what that means is that I have 4 right angles. But, excuse me, let's go ahead and do it. B, which is 4, 3. And C, which is 7, negative 1. Oh, you can't really see that. Label, label, label. Label, label, scrabble. And my slope is going to be negative 1 minus 3 over 7 minus 4. -1 minus 3 is -4. 7 minus 4 is 3, which is great because that's what I expected it to be. And then we're going to do the same thing with AB. A is 0, 0. B is 4, 3. Label, label, label. Label, label, scrabble. You should be doing this with me, you know. You have your notes at home. I forgot to say that in the beginning. You should be doing this with me. 3 minus 0. I'm not doing this by myself. 4 minus 0. If you come to class with your notes filled out, I will give you 2 points on your exam on Thursday. This is going to fly over a lot of people's heads. You know why? Because y'all not actually listening. And it's crazy, but it is what it is. Those who get it, get it. So here we showed that this side here, and this side here, they're parallel. This side here and this side here is parallel. These two are opposite reciprocals. These two are opposite reciprocals. Whatever the case may be, we have right angles. Now, I'm going to continue on just because, like, we here already. So I'm going to do BD. B, which is 4, 3. D, which is 3, -4. And we have x1, y1, x2, y2. Remember, you do these 2 questions, 2 points on your exam. And I'm literally doing it for you. So literally, all you have to do is follow along. But, you know, to each his own. We're going to go ahead and do the slope of these two. -4 minus 3 over 3 minus 4. -4 minus 3 is -7. 3 minus 4 is -1. My slope is 7. Why? Because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. Now let's do the slope of AC. A is 0, 0. C is 7, -1. Well, label, label, label. Label, label, scrabble. And I'm going to say my slope is -1 minus 0 over 7 minus 0. That's going to be -1 over 7. What we notice is that our 2 slopes here are opposite reciprocals. So I'm going to go ahead. Whoopsie, what is happening? Hating on me. That's crazy. I'm going to go ahead and say, no, you don't have to do this, but I like to do this. I like to say perpendicular lines form right angles. And then I want to mention that angle A, angle B, angle C, and angle D are right angles. Just so that my reader or grader knows exactly that I know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to say that ABCD is a rectangle because it is a quad with 4 right angles. Now, I'm going to also say that BD is perpendicular to AC, and therefore I am going to say since ABCD is a rectangle with perpendicular diagonals, it is a square. And that's where the ball drops. That's where the ball drops, and I think we're done. Are we done? Oh, you're going to have to do this on your own, baby. You're going to have to do this on your own because I'm not doing this for you. I'm not doing this for you, and I'm not doing this for you. And this is great because this is the practice that you need. So do these 2 on your own. However, I spoke to you already about what the deal was for these 2. I'm not going to say it again because I already said it twice. Those who get it, get it. And, yeah, I'm going to see you on Monday. And I hope this wasn't a long video. Bye, besties. Bye.